Hey everyone, it's Kristin from the Kristin Chronicles. For the sake of giving everyone a voice in my system, not just the pleasant parts or the ANPs, but to give the emotional parts, the darker parts, a voice as well, I'm going to make this video. We're still recovering from a pretty bad episode. We've been pretty suicidal lately and been trying to just kind of push those feelings down because we don't have time for it. We have to move in a few days, and we just launched our Patreon page, and there's a lot of stuff that we're in the middle of working on, and we're pretty alone right now. And so, you know, I didn't want to give energy and time to thoughts that I couldn't change and I didn't want to act on, and so I've just kind of been dodging them the best I can, and I've been coping really well, and I've honestly been really proud of myself. But, you know, building up all that tension of anger, fear, frustration, you know, pain from flashbacks and trauma and like all the stuff we're going through, it built up, and, you know, I finally kind of broke. What caused the break, the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, was running out of medical marijuana. And so what I experience without it is my normal. It's not like withdrawals from weed or anything like that. It's what I've been experiencing on and off for over a decade. And so, you know, the voices were really bad and everything was just awful. And depression got worse, and the pleasant parts, Bambi and Kristin and Crystal and Misty, you know, the parts that do good for our system, you know, in manner of speaking, were kind of just absent, and it was just kind of making me go crazy, being stuck just with these emotional parts, with trauma and pain and just crumminess and no hope and no positive memories or anything. And so yesterday, Misty kind of came out to drink since we didn't have weed to help us cope, and alcohol is definitely a less healthy and wise option for us. It, you know, kind of, it makes it more difficult to manage things. It can trigger things. The after effects, of course, are not good, and we were drinking on an empty stomach and self-harming and drinking beyond the point where we knew we should stop. And you know, that has not happened in like a year and a half, or at least a while. Like, that's the last memory I have of that happening. And so, you know, I've been really proud of making progress with that. And so it was pretty terrifying to kind of be observing, you know, this self-destructive behavior going on when I felt like I had, you know, grown out of that, like I'd grown up and whatnot. And so there was, you know, the self-harming, drinking on an empty stomach, just kind of raging out, being inappropriate with people, just kind of making poor decisions, getting ready to move, throwing out stuff that some of the other parts would be upset to, you know, not have anymore, and they knew it. And yeah, just a very disconnected, not coping well anymore kind of a part. And it was definitely like Misty in combination with some emotional parts, and so it was deceiving because I still kind of felt like it was me. Like, the combination felt very similar to Kristin being really upset, but it wasn't me. And so it gets really confusing and exhausting, try to sort it all out. So thanks so much for joining my journey. I hope you know that I don't share this kind of stuff for pity or attention. I am hoping to raise awareness about this. This is something I live with, whether people know about it or not. And, you know, I'm not looking for the attention and the sympathy, and, you know, like that doesn't do me any good. That does no one any good. And, you know, that's not what I'm looking for here. I'm genuinely hoping that people will become aware, so people don't have to go through this kind of stuff so alone. And it can be a conversation we can just have, and it doesn't have to be something scary and, you know, so uncomfortable. And, like, you know, I get that it's, you know, the unknown, and it's, you know, there's not much you can do to help necessarily, and it can be a tricky issue because it doesn't make sense because you haven't experienced it, and I understand that. But the more you can understand the pain that our experience caused, the more you can be there for people like me. Thank you so much for joining my journey, everyone.